So I got my composite Harbor Freight 1/4 inch ratchet out, and I just wanted to make a video showing people what this is, because I think a lot of people believe this is just, a plastic ratchet, and it's just going to break in half the second you use it. It's not. It's a real ratchet inside. It just has a plastic handle molded around the outside. So I think it's important to show people what the inside of this actually is, and alleviate the false pretense that it's, a piece of plastic children's toy, which it, not necessarily isn't. I mean, you could give this to your kids, and I'm sure it'd be safer than a metal one. Don't do that, but that's what it is. So I've got this sitting next to a pile of ratchets. These are snap-ons up here. All three of these are snap-ons, and then this is another Pittsburgh Pro 1/4 inch ratchet. And the only really big difference, this composite one is huge compared to, this little tiny snap-on, but it's also really big around compared to the regular Pittsburgh Pro, whatever metal ratchet this is. It's almost, really, this one's really, really long, though. I don't know why it's so long. And then getting into the design of these, just really quick, these two Harbor Freights, not very different. They've got, 3 screws. These two are on the outside of the face, and this one's in here. But you see, it's 3 screws anyway, and it holds it together. That's pretty much, that's it. I mean, there's really nothing any different about those. They vary completely from all of these old snap-ons. This is a really old F720 3/8 ratchet, and these two are the same kind of mechanism inside, the same gear design. Same as a Mac. They have a pawl at the bottom and then a gear tooth. They're all large tooth ratchets, these are old ones. But these are fine tooth ratchets, and they are completely different inside than the old snap-ons. So whatever that means, that's what they are. And then taking this ratchet apart is a T10 for the 2 big screws, and then a T8 for the very tiny selector toggle screw. And with those 3 screws out, the whole assembly comes apart, and that's pretty much it. The design inside of this is completely different than the large tooth, the small tooth count large gear old style ratchets. This is a fine tooth ratchet. It's got really fine gear teeth, and it uses this style of mechanism where it's got 2 individual cogs. I believe they're called cogs, and they press against the body, and that's how they work. They've got really, really fine teeth on them. This is the same thing as the other Harbor Freight Pro ratchet. Exact same thing inside. It's no different. It's got the same seal as well. They market this as a sealed head. Snap-on does the same thing. They say, oh, that's a sealed head. It's got this little piece of stamped steel. I don't know about all that shit. I beg to differ on that being an effective seal for anything. Because as we saw, this ratchet here, it's been in my toolbox, and you see it's still leaking Permatex out of it. It's not sealed for anything. It's not a seal. It's just not. And so if you're wondering, these are the exact same thing inside. The 2 Pittsburgh Professional 1/4 inch fine tooth ratchets, exact same design inside. There's no difference. The big thing with this, so this ratchet is metal inside and has a molded composite body. It is not a composite head ratchet. It is a metal ratchet. It is the same thing as a regular old ratchet. You see, that's all metal. And what it has is a handle that comes down, and this plastic is molded around the handle. So you don't have to think like, oh, I'm going to get this ratchet, I'm going to go to pull it, and it's going to snap in half. That's not how this works. They've got a metal handle that goes through the inside. This plastic is just molded around it like a kitchen knife or anything else, It's not a full tang ratchet, though. Well, that'd be funny, wouldn't it? Hey, it's got a little handle. You can put paracord on there, like when you're out in the wilderness and you got a ratchet. How stupid. So yeah, this ratchet came from the factory. It has no grease on it at all. This is piss poor condition. It really, really, really needs grease badly. This ratchet, I would not want to run it very, very long without any grease inside of it, because these fine tooth ratchets, you get a single grain of sand in one of these teeth and you can skip the gears. And then if you skip gears on one of these and you have even 20 pounds of pressure on there, you're gonna ruin all of this internal stuff. However, Harbor Freight, you just walk back in and say, I need a new one. They'll just give you a new one. But then you got to go down there and, what's your time worth? It's not worth my time going in there and get a ratchet. So, you see how this works. It goes in, and whatever direction you turn, the cog will retrieve or engage. If you're turning, clockwise on this and it's in this position, it will allow this to bounce back. I wonder if I can get that to bounce back. Probably not. But either way, But you'll see this will bounce back towards the body of the ratchet like that, and that's your clickety-click when it turns. So anything else interesting about this ratchet? I mean, not really. It's the same thing as the Harbor Freight Pittsburgh Pro regular solid 1/4 inch, except it's got a different gear in it. You know, it's got the quick disconnect on it and whatnot. The big difference in oiling this, I'm gonna oil this, and when you do that, that's a very sharp sound. It's not great, and it sounds really nasty. You put some nice Permatex in there, that sound will turn into something very subtle. It just sounds better. It sounds like it's supposed to. A lot of people have these really nasty, loud, harsh ratchets, and that's not the right sound. They need to sound like they have, you know, some kind of, surface oil in there, and it will make it a million times better. It'll sound better, and it'll also feel better. It'll ratchet better. It'll just, like, the problem is when you don't have any oil in these, you get issues where it takes an amount of torque to get to a breaking point, and then when you hit that, everything moves all at once. It's like a jerking motion, and when you oil it, you remove a lot of that. Like, this will move this other ratchet here. I mean, you put 2 pounds of pressure on it, and it'll just gently move around like a nice potentiometer, you know, on a radio or something. It moves substantially better instead of, you know, like having to put a bunch of pressure on it and then see how it clicks a bunch of teeth. So I've put down my plastic wrap, and I guess we're ready to do this. So here we go. Now, if you were a productive member of society, you would take this all outside and you would, you know, brake cleaner it off and everything else. But I think they've done that from the factory for me already, because there's absolutely no grease on this ratchet at all. So everything's going to be nice and new. It's got some oxidation worn off from the coating that's on the, you know, like, it's a coating is what's on it. All that black stuff is from the factory. It's coated so it doesn't rust, but it just wears off and turns all your stuff black. Okay, there's that. As far as anything else, I don't think I need to really do much else. I'm just going to put the faceplate back on, and that's pretty much it. I guess it's probably important that you put the seal back on. Not that it really does anything, but it's in factory spec now. So there's the seal, and then the head goes over top of that, the faceplate, and that's pretty much it. That's taking it apart and putting it back together. Put the faceplate on upside down. One important thing when putting this back together, this screw that holds the selector toggle on, you can't tighten that too much. It has to be somewhat loose, or otherwise you tighten it too much, you over tighten it, and this will not turn anymore. So you have to have that somewhat loose, and that will necessitate an amount of Loctite so that doesn't just back out by itself. That's a design that a lot of ratchets have. It's not a design, it's a poor design choice is what it is, but a lot of ratchets suffer from that, where that selector screw has to be somewhat loose, or else the selector is too tight. I have Max that you can tighten that right down and it doesn't affect anything. That is the correct way to build that, but almost all ratchets are built wrong, so you have to make sure that has some slack in it. Blue Loctite is temporary Loctite that will not back out from vibration or whatever. You know, it's for, you know, medium duty stuff, which this would definitely be medium duty. And that will hold that in and allow you to have that somewhat backed out, like a quarter of a turn or something like that. It's just a thing that you have to do, and you'll find out immediately because you'll tighten it up. You're like, why don't my ratchet turn anymore? Because it has screws too tight. And you can see from the factory, these 2 body faceplate screws have blue Loctite on them already. This will need to be replaced if you actually want this Loctite. You can't just screw it back in and expect it to work. That's not how Loctite works. Once you put it in and it dries, that's it. If you take it back out, you have to replace it. So these will no longer be Loctited in. So if you think you can just put them back in and they'll work, that's not how Loctite works. So this ratchet is all back together now and pretty much, you know, done and cleaned, and that's that. The big thing with red Permatex is that it leaks out 24 hours a day, so you can already see I just wiped this off with rubbing alcohol, and it's just everywhere. You know, it just leaks right through everything. It's a really very penetrating kind of lubricant, and they say this is a sealed head. It's the same thing Snap-on says too. I read into all the Snap-on manuals. They say, oh yeah, ours is a sealed head, and this is the same kind of thing. It's got a little stamped O-ring there. But you can see anything that's inside of that is going to leak out. And around the toggle switch here, it's leaking all through there, it's leaking around the screws, it's leaking around everywhere. It's just everywhere there is, it will leak through. So, you know, just having a seal on there and saying that's a sealed head, anything that leaks out will allow ingress. So, you know, if you spray brake cleaner all over this ratchet, you're going to get brake cleaner inside of it, and then all your lubricant's going to, you know, be totally contaminated and ruined. If you get some other kind of fluid on it, like if you drop this in a puddle or something, you're going to have water all over inside of this. It's not going to be sealed from any elements at all. And it just, you know, you can see all over the place where it's still leaking out. It's not sealed from anything. So, other than that, this is the little tiny Pittsburgh composite ratchet.